Welcome to another edition of the Modern Father Podcast. I'm your host Marcus, and my other host, the Shohei Ohtani of podcasting, Benji. How you doing, buddy?
Two-way player, baby. I do it all. What's going on, y'all? Happy Wednesday. Happy Ash Wednesday to my fellow Catholics out there. I did not go to get ashes today. It's snowing, it's cold, and my baby ain't ready to go outside yet. So.
It's too cold out there. I heard it's pretty freezing outside. It
Today
snowed
was
again
7
today.
degrees. Yeah, 7 degrees.
Yeah.
So.
That's crazy. No, man, you can skip Ash Wednesday. You can get support Ash Thursday. Should be a little better tomorrow.
You're going to hell for that one.
I know. As soon as I said it,
yeah, you're like, edit.
Edit. Yeah, man. It snowed out here today too. It was like that little small drizzle of desert snow. So the weather's been crazy lately. How's your baby?
She's good, man. Sunday, she made a month. It's a very nice little milestone.
Yep.
Very alert. Last night, she gave me a run for my money. Woke up 1:30 for her normal feeding time. But this time, dude, she would not fall asleep. Like, she was wide awake, and like, her little eyes all big, and she does like a little. Every time I look down, she's looking at me. I'm like, girl, it is 2 a.m. So I was up till 3 o'clock in the morning with her. I ended up sleeping on the couch with her until about 5:30 this morning. Because when she fell asleep, I didn't want to move her. I was like,
Right.
You know what? We're just gonna stay out here. My wife came. She said, "Well, you want to take her to the bassinet?" I was like, honestly, just leave us. Like, let us be. I don't want her to get up. I don't want her to start fussing again. She's finally sleeping. I think she was constipated because she took a mean load earlier today. So I think her stomach was just really bothering her. The cool thing is this upcoming week, Sunday, she will be her first outing. So we're gonna take her to church Sunday,
Nice.
and then we can start actually going out places. She's reaching her 40-day commitment of being inside the house. I'm very excited. I'm getting a little stir crazy of how much time we're spending in the house. I'm
Yeah.
ready to go out to the world and see and show her some things now that she's a little bit more alert. So Sunday we'll start. We'll take her to church. She'll get a blessing, and from there we'll be able to start taking her to different places other than just a pediatrician.
Have you
exciting.
picked up an outfit?
Yeah, I mean, I got her. So she got some. So she got like a sweat, I'm thinking like the jogging suit that she wore home, because it was kind of big on her. Because she's kind of aging out of her newborn clothes already. And then she got some Nike foam posits, the purple Nike foam posits that she hasn't worn yet. So I might have to throw those joints on her.
You got shoes?
Yeah, she got Nike foam posits. Let me see. I don't know where they're at right now. But she had, dude, she got little Nikes. She got little Nike foam posits. They're hot.
I'm gonna make that a topic next week. Should 1-year-olds, less than 1-year-olds, have shoes? I haven't put a dang shoe on Cairo's feet yet. Like, the only thing you got is socks.
It was a gift.
a
And
gift?
they're soft. Yeah, and they're soft in the bottom.
Oh, okay.
They're
Okay.
for, like, literally for that age.
Right. Are they kind of like socks?
No, they're not socks. They're a legit shoe. Like, they have a lace on there. It's cute, man. It's like a little foam posit. Like, it's.
After we film the podcast, I want to see those. Like, I'm actually
Yeah,
I'm really excited to
know.
see those.
I have no idea where they're at right now. They're probably just stored somewhere. Maybe I can find it in one of these drawers. If you don't know, I'm using my
Right.
daughter's dresser as a desk.
So you're shuffling around looking for this. So while you're shuffling around looking for that, I have Cairo names. Little man. Yeah, he's killing it right now. He's had his 9 months, and dude is loving life, man. I'm enjoying him. He's babbling a lot. A lot of da 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 da. He's vocal. Overall, I think the guy is just an amazing little dude. I'm very happy with his head and the way his head's growing, because you know how he's wearing the headband. Oh yeah,
You guys
he's
been
strong.
shaving it? You guys been shaving the I remember I was listening to some of our old episodes, so I remember you mentioning like shaving of the helmet every few weeks. How's that been going?
Yeah, it's been going great. Every time we go to a doctor, we've been twice to our Ota, and every time she's shaving it, and she said, "You guys doing a great job, and just keep it up." And the reason why too, like I want to keep the consistency, is because when you lack the consistency, it's going to stay on longer. And around here, it gets that heat, that Vegas heat, and with that helmet and the Vegas heat, it's gonna be nasty. It's gonna stink. He's gonna be sweaty, and everything, especially if I want to take him outside. So that's why like I'm telling my long term like what's to stay diligent, stay crisp with this thing, stay on schedule, stay on point, so he does not have to wear that for an extended period of time, especially going through spring once it starts heating up a little bit. Because man, that thing gets nasty. I can just see it because it's like a hardcore beanie with no knit. Like
Yeah.
it's just all like extrapolating that heat. And some nights he sweats like really good too. So I'm just like, all right, like
He
I know
sleeps
we
with
got the
that
AC
joint on,
going.
right?
What's up?
He got to sleep with that joint on. He's like has it on all day, correct?
Yeah, he has it on all day, and the way he sleeps on his belly, anyways, and so like he just sleeps with his like head cocked up to the side, and he's adjusted very well, and like to where his sleep patterns, like he's been asleep right now. I put him to sleep like around 1:30 my time, and it's 3:30 right now, so he should be awake. But that dude started crying. He was so tired. He lets me know when he wants to go to sleep, which is really cool because I wear him out, man. Like especially, oh, dude, those are dope. Yeah, hey, everyone on YouTube's gonna see those. Those are dope.
Yeah.
Those are sick. She can fit those. What size is that?
Um, these are uh 2C.
What? Hey, for the podcast listeners, like they're like a purple camo, purple and dark
Yeah.
purple camo. Those are dope foam posits. Like they're like the actual foam posits too. I didn't expect that. I thought it was gonna be like I was hating at first, to be honest, man. I was hating. Those are dope. Those are real sick. She gonna be she kicked up.
Yeah, I think she could fit them.
Oh well, you're gonna be a
They
little
look.
loose, but yeah,
They
but
might be a
overall,
little
like,
loose, but yeah,
yeah,
and like I said, the bottoms are soft. Like
uh
they're
huh.
flat. Like there's no grip on. Like there's grip, but there's not ridges in it like a regular shoe. I don't know if
Was
you
that
can
a
tell.
gift?
Yeah,
Dang,
yeah, it was
man.
yeah. But yeah, man, she gonna be styling, bro.
Right, silent profiling. Those are dope. What are you gonna do with those when she outgrows them? You should keep them,
I'll probably do the Hispanic thing and hang them on my, on my whip.
right?
And now she got these joints too. These are
Okay,
yeah, like these are little
right.
slippers.
Are you gonna buy her those big red boots that everybody's been wearing?
Nah, hell no. Nah, those are no go in the household of Marcial. Those do not roll.
Those are
Nah, we
those
don't
are
do
so
those
trash. I don't know why people are wearing those. When I saw
because the
Shea
internet
Gillis
told them
Alexander wear
to.
those, this is terrible.
That's why the internet
Yeah.
told them to wear it.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's trendy. Hey, follow the trends. Everybody's wearing these. Yeah, I hate them. Like they look like a shoe out of Super Mario Brothers world. Like
It looks like the tube that you go down to go to the next level. Burp, 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 burp. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's what it looks like.
yeah, man. It's a clown world that we live in, and people will start rocking those things and be like, "Yeah, man, I spent like over $400 on these things." Like, come on, man. What are you
No,
thinking? What are you thinking? Hey,
negative.
we should set our own trends here at Modern Father. I have like our own like
Yeah, we do. It's
apparel.
called being present and being helpful. That's the new trend. Get on that one. Hop on that wave.
I'm on that vibe.
There
I'm
you
on that
go.
wave.
That's the wave that I'm trying to be on.
Right, right. So, I have a new name for because like that was officially our layup line. Our new intro is the layup line. I like the way we rescheduled this whole thing. 'Cause, it's a work in progress. So we rescheduled. How'd you come up with your baby's name?
Yeah, this is very interesting. I've actually had a lot of people give me really cool feedback on my daughter's name. So, my daughter's first and middle name is Adela Gray.
Mm-hmm.
And it took us a while. We had a lot of names that we were going through that we were looking at, and a lot of common ones like Amelia was one. Um, what else? Sophia. Rose was a big one as a middle name. If you're listening right now, I recommend not picking Rose. As of now, I know about 4 little girls who all have Rose as their middle name.
Right.
That seems to be the new Marie. Back in the day, everyone was something something Marie. Everyone I know is a Marie who's my age. That's the middle name. Now the next wave is Rose. But Adela comes from the Adelitas. So the Adelitas were these Mexican women who fought in the Mexican Revolutionary War, and they supported the men. And see pictures of them in these long, kind of like denim-looking dresses with shotguns on their backs, and they're actually in there in the trenches with the men putting in work. So they're called the Adelitas. So that's where we got her first name from. It's shortened it to Adela. My daughter is half Mexican, half Puerto Rican. So it worked. It was dope. It was unique. We also really like Adele, so that's kind of nice. So shout out to Adele. We are huge fans of Adele in this household. So that's kind of nice as well. Gray. So Gray is kind of funny. So this is a little extra. I wanted a 1-syllable middle name. So it's Adela. So we have Adela, and then I wanted Adela, 1-syllable last name. So my last name is Marcial. So Adela blank Marcial. So I was going through so I really was limited on what I was be able to choose as her middle name. And gray is my favorite color for a lot of different reasons. And if you know, you know. But gray is my favorite color. And when I look at it, I was like, aesthetically, it didn't look pleasing, right? And I was looking up different ways to spell it. And I was like, Gray it's all right. And Grey, which is more of like the European style of spelling it. And then I came across Grae, and I wrote it out, and I was like, this isn't too bad. I was like, this is kind of cute for a name. And then I thought about like other posts that I've seen is like, don't get all creative with your kids' names, and they gotta grow up one day. Like you'll see like Ashley, and it's spelled like Ashleigh or something crazy like that. But granted, that given that this is her middle name, I didn't see it as that big of a deal. And it's only, instead of like a Y at the end, it's just an E. Right. And it looked dope. So Adela Gray is how that came about. And then when folks read it, they actually read it right. So that, like, people don't get caught up on the middle name. But that's how we came up with her name. So my wife came up with the first name. I came up with the middle name, and obviously she took my last name. So it was awesome, man. It's been cool, like, to see the feedback I've gotten from folks about our daughter's name. And I've had people ask me, like, how did you come up with that? Or that's awesome, like, that's unique. We haven't heard that name. My grandmother was an only hater, so shout out to Ella. She's like, that's an old lady name. And I was like, well, she's going to be an old lady one day, bro. Like, what do you want me to name her? Like, Sugar Bear, Pookie Face, and then she was telling me all these other names, which are, like, literally other old lady names. And I was like, there's nothing better about that name compared to this name. You just want to be difficult. I love Wella, but she can be difficult at times. Again, if you know, you know. If you know my Wella, you know how she can be. But, yeah, she was the only hater that we had. But now it's kind of grown on her. And, as of right now, everyone just calls her Adelita anyway. So it's cute, and it's unique, it's different. I love her middle name. And that's how we came up with that. What about you?
Shout out to my niece, man. Shout out to my niece. I love that name, man. That's a great name. For me, it's Cairo. So Julie's dad, his name is Kai. His native Taiwanese name is Kai. And so I was thinking, I was like, man, like, how can I tie that into a name? As I really like, Julie's dad's chill. You met him before. He's funny.
Long-term dad.
Yeah. What's up?
My long-term dad.
Edit. Long-term dad. So he's really cool. He's a really cool guy. So I was like, how can I tie his name into a good, like, brand new name? And I was thinking of a soccer player, man, you guy, Mo Salah, plays for Liverpool, right? And he plays for his country his national country is Egypt. And I was like, man, like Cairo, the movie The Mummy. And I was like, man, like what? I like this. I really like this name. So I came up with Cairo, and I was like, hey, long term, what do you think about this name? You know, the Pharaoh, like the man, like Cairo. When he walks in, like everybody's gonna be like, yo, what's up? It's kingly. You know, like it just has a good ring to it. You know, and she really liked it, and so she's like, all right, well, I'm gonna pick the middle name. So she came up with like a bunch of middle names that I was like, oh, and then so she came up with Kenji, and I was like, Cairo Kenji Galton. But then I thought about it, and my dad sold me over top of it, and he's just like, 2K, what's up, 2K? So like, yeah, dude, my dad sold me, like, completely sold me with Cairo Kenji. So I was like, oh, 2K, like, so that greatest nickname right now out the gate, 2K, love it, the Pharaoh, it came together really well, and also it fits him too, because like just the way he looks, like he's a unique looking kid. You know, he's light skinned with like that brown goldish bronze top. You know, it's like a dark gold. It looks he's a really good looking baby. So yeah, I gotta fan off the ladies. I'm gonna make sure I get off of him. You know what I mean? That dude's gonna be out there macking. I know he's gonna be a macaroni Tony. Oh my god!
I remember when y'all told me that he was gonna be Kenji, and I was like, oh, like Benji, that's dope. There you go.
It's like his unk.
I was like, I know I inspired y'all. Thank you.
Yeah,
I appreciate
just like his
shout
unk.
out.
Just like his unk. Yeah, I love our kids' names, man. So like, what advice would you give to others who are naming their kids?
I mean, first and foremost, I mean, no Rose. Again, like I believe it. I feel like it's becoming the new Marie for Latin people. Maybe this is different for other folks, but I know a gang of women who are around my age who their all middle names are Maries. And now I have, like I said, there's 4 little kids in my life whose middle name is Rose for different reasons, right? Some are just like grandmother. Some just flows really nice. Some people love. I mean, I love Rose. I really wanted Rose as well. So I started realizing, like, oh shit, Adela already has a cousin named Rose. My homie's daughter's middle name is Rose. I know this other person is going to be Rose. So I was like, all right, we're gonna have to pick something else. So definitely that. Try not to get too creative with the spelling.
Yeah.
You know, like, again, don't overdo it. They have to grow into these names. So remember that, like, you're naming a human, not just a baby. You spend more years as an adult than a baby. So I wanted like a strong name. I feel like my name was pretty strong, Benjamin. Like, and I remember being like a little fat kid, and it was like Benjamin was a big name for like a little fat kid. But then you grow into that name, right? You grow into the name that you're given. So that's cool. So I keep that in mind. For me, it was like the flow. I wanted to see how it sounded. So like I said, that I was really stuck on that 1-syllable middle name. You know, you may not go to that same extent. That was a big deal for me. I don't know why. I liked how well, I do know why. I like the flow of it.
Right.
So, you know, and then just do what you want to do. Everyone's going to have an opinion. Everyone's going to tell you what you should do and what you should name them. But this is your kid. This is your chance to do what you believe is best for your child and your family. So stick with your guns, and if I can tell my well I know, you can tell everyone else in your circle know as well.
Yeah, it's so true. Yeah, I would say also stay away from like trendy names from TV shows. Like I remember Game of Thrones was popping. Everybody was naming their kids after like Game of Thrones names. Stay away from that. I would also say, like you said, have a foresight for the future. So when I was thinking about Cairo, I was thinking about like when he gets a job in the future, like when he's a future businessman or he's in IT or he's doing that, if he's like going to be in public office, I want a name that can ring out, but then also be at the same time that great, strong, and not goofy name, you know. So something like Cairo is definitely it just reads like okay, kingly and strong. Don't like you said like they don't have the funny spelling either. Like if I'm at school and I'm already horrible with names, but if I'm reading off your name and I butcher it, that's on your parents. You know what I mean? Like I'm over here like, oh, okay, cinnamon. No, my name is Cindy. Like so
Yeah.
my bad. But look at the spelling. So just be cognizant of that. That like people are doing roll calls with your kids. So like don't go out there and put like different kind of syllables and
I have one more.
accent marks so they need to be.
Another
You
thing
know,
too, I thought about is like thinking as a bully. So I was like, how can a kid make fun of my kid's name? So
right?
I was like, so I named him this. What jokes can come from this name? Because I got to make sure my kid is prepared for bullies. Because
Uh-huh.
there's always bullies around. So you want to have a bully-proof name. And then one thing for me too, which is I wanted a name that was like reflective of a Latin culture.
Mm-hmm.
Right? As we are starting to kind of move away from like my grandparents were first like I mean Puerto Ricans are citizens, but we're not treated like citizens.
You
Like
guys should be the
if you're
51st.
if you're from the island, so like
Mm-hmm.
my mother was more Americanized, so I'm very Americanized by now. So as we continue to become more and more Americanized, I wanted to make sure we had that Latin Spanish heritage still kind of in our names and not just a fully assimilated name. That's not
Right.
something that I wanted, and my wife didn't want that either. She's a first gen, so she wanted to make sure that we continue that on. So definitely having a strong, Latina name was high on our list as well. We did not want to name her like, I don't know, like Susie. Like
Yeah, yeah, you know, yeah,
we
yeah.
wanted something that's gonna be reflective of where her roots come from. So that was
Right,
another
exactly.
big one
Yeah,
for
like
us.
I agree with that 110% because like we wanted a name too that has more not like John or Mike. Shout out my Johns and Mikes out there, but like at the same time, like we wanted something that's more culturally, like me and her because we're both people of color, and we just didn't. We don't want anything plain Jane, but at the same time, represents both of us as a whole. So yeah, I definitely agree with that, man. She comes up with this new song. I don't know if you saw it. So she had this
Yeah,
this TikTok, and she had this new song about her talking about how she's independent and how she doesn't need a man, and despite the fact that she has an NFL quarterback to go home to every day to take care of her future's baby. You know what I mean? Fair or foul about Sierra, and also too, I'll go into this. Does modern day music, R&B and rap especially, do they paint like an entirely different picture and for us like normal people? Are they lying to us at this point? To try to sell records.
I think they've always lied to us. Not all the
Mm-hmm.
like when. So I think I'm thinking about this right. So like Sierra's talking about like independent woman and she don't need a man, but like again, you have not only do you have a man, you have a star quarterback man, you have a superstar baby daddy in future. I mean, you granted you have had your own independent career, you know what I mean, but you've also been with high power, highly successful men. Whether you like
Mm-hmm.
Future or not as a person, or if he's a dog, whatever he was, I'm sure he gives her some money. I'm sure he's on papers or something. I don't see that not happening. And then you have Russell Wilson, right? Like the poster child of Mr. Nice Guys around the world. I know people are like they kind of compared it to like Beyonce or like you wrote this like single ladies and you did all this thing, but you weren't single, you were Jay-Z. But I kind of connected to all these rappers who talk about bodies and killing
Yep.
folks and doing this shit, and they didn't do it.
Yep.
Like I got TikTok mad as hell one day because I said something about what's his name? What's that dude's name from the Locks? What's his name?
Oh, Jada Kiss, was it Styles
Yeah,
or?
it's Jada Kids. It was Jada
Uh-huh.
Kids because he came from a two-parent household and went to private school.
Yeah.
And then like I saw an interview with his dad, like, we didn't raise him to do none of this shit and all of this. And I was like, so I put in the comments, I was like,
Oh,
his
damn.
real name's Clarence, and Clarence's
Hey,
parents
hey.
got a real good marriage. And
Don't go to D Block.
oh my, I had dudes on there like, you ever been to Yonkers? And I was like,
Yeah. Oh yeah, they gonna get you.
I was like, chill, homie, like, chill out, bro. I was like, I never been to Yonkers, but I was like, you ever been to Chicago? I was like, I've been to Harlem. I kicked it in Harlem by myself. I was like, what? I was like, I'm just saying, his dad was the one who said that. Like,
Right.
his dad was the one who was saying, like, this kid grew up in a nice house. He grew up in a nice area. Same thing with like the Migos. I got people mad about that because
Oh yeah.
they didn't grow up like their music reflects. You know what I mean? So I think it's the same. I think I think she's just trying to appeal to different parts of her audience.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, music is a powerful tool.
Yes.
So there are women out there who need that little bit of encouragement, and they see Sierra as someone that they, admire or they want to be like, or, they see her success, and, maybe she does has a crazy story from when she was younger. I don't really know much about Sierra. I do have a funny question to ask you about Sierra specifically now that we're talking about this.
No, go ahead.
But I mean, in terms of her making this music, I think it's the same thing with rappers who kind of fabricate their stories. I mean,
Yeah.
a lot of people fabricate their stories. Movies fabricate what really happened.
Mm-hmm.
The difference is it'll tell you, like, I watch BMF, right? But
Yeah.
right, and it'll tell you based off of true events,
Mm-hmm.
right? And some of this may or may not have happened, but we watch it and we tune into it every week.
Yeah.
So, what do you think?
Well, so like, I think everything you said is spot on and true. I think people are motivated to sell records, and one way to sell records is to sell a persona, to sell an image. I've been listening to stuff like that my whole life. Especially with my first record that I bought was Dog Pound Dog Food. Like Let's Play House. It's a Nate Dogg on there, and Daz and Corrupt. I used to love that stuff, man. But like those guys were involved in that stuff, but they weren't out there on the blocks. You know what I mean? Like they weren't out there in the thick of things, and it sells a dream to like a guy who doesn't have a good, or man doesn't have a good structure around them. So they're like, oh man, like I can be out there in these streets and make money and do this and this and that. But no, you're taking unnecessary penitentiary chances because you want to listen to some music that sounds great in your ears. But it's all that stuff is just, especially when you listen to it 3 or 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times, it's played all over the radio. It's subliminal messaging, and it's terrible for our culture. But that's the thing. Individually, it sells records. So you're basically a what do they call those people? Snake oil salesman. You're that dude that pulls up to like the village with trinkets and everything, but as soon as you leave, those trinkets break or something malfunctions. Like
the monorail, remember?
Right. Like The Simpsons. The Simpsons monorail. Oh, that's one of my favorite episodes. I love the Simpsons monorail episodes because monorail. Yeah, dude. Yeah. Oh my goodness gracious, that episode was like one of the best episodes. But I remember I used to like get the GI Joes, and they used to break on me all the time because they used to have the rubber band string in there, and the rubber band was like super flimsy, and you had to replace that rubber band, yourself, and sometimes it was hard to do. But that right there was like, you're selling me a G.I. Joe figurine, like Snake Eyes, man, I love Snake Eyes, oh my goodness gracious. And then 3 weeks later, things are snapping and breaking in half. That's what these rappers are. That's what these R&B artists are who are selling me stuff. Shame on them, and be real and paint a better picture, because young, impressionable people who don't have good surroundings around them listen to these things and they're like, oh, I don't need no man. Sierra told me, but they don't know that she's lamped up with like the one of the richest quarterbacks in the NFL right now, who's like a really good dude, is willing to take on, a single mother, which is he's a great guy. You know what I mean? Not everybody's going to have a Russell Wilson. not everybody's gonna get to that point. So why are you even? You should start writing songs about how, hey, I have a great family. Hey, I have a great husband who is like the top echelon of his job. I have great kids and I'm a great mother. That's the kind of music they should be hearing. And then from these rappers, come out here and start rapping about how you're living the luxurious high life right now. Don't start talking about, man, I'm still in these streets. I'm still in the hood. You know, I got a Lambo. Talk about your credit score. Talk about how you have owned multiple businesses that you make passive income. Don't talk about all this garbage that you're still in the streets. What's up?
I said folks are starting like you have a few people who are starting to do that. Shout out Lil Durk. Like
Yeah, Lil Durk,
Lil Durk's like
Larry
I'm not.
June.
Yeah, he's
Uh,
like I'm not talking about any of my old ops anymore. Like anyone who's died,
right.
like I'm not gonna bring them up ever again. Um, I mean, violence sells. You know,
Violence is always so. That's why NWA got big. That's why Death Row Records was big. That's why Wu-Tang Clan blew up. You know, that's why all the music that we listen to, especially like that I listened to, especially in the 90s, violent. You know, even Nas, like he had violence in his stories, but that made it great. And Nas was like never the dude that was deep in the streets. I mean, of course he had people that was around him that was in these streets, but Nas wasn't like QB's like Queensbridge's like, you know, super thug out there hidden like Mob Deep. All right, maybe a different story, but they weren't even like, you know, out there like that too. So I man, our culture is messed up, bro, that we celebrate this kind of stuff, that people can get away with this stuff and actually make money off of this and still be employed. Like it's frustrating. It really is.
yeah. I mean, Kanye talks about it all the time. I know he's crazy, but he talks about it about how what kind of music sells and who's behind that music and
Hmm.
who it destroys. Right, it destroys communities of color. Where we just talk about harming ourselves. We talk about like I said, there's nothing wrong with like independent womanship and songs about that, but just I guess I think more women would rather hear that from an actual woman who is not married to a
Exactly.
quarterback who makes $250 million guaranteed and
Exactly.
things of
But
that
then when
nature.
they do hear that though, they are like, so like it's like young young Mimi or whatever. It's like she's talking that same stuff too, but you're like in bed with P Diddy though. You know, so like it's like, and then like Nicki Minaj and Megan Thee Stallion, they all have men. You know what I mean? They all have significant others. So to peddle that is snake oil salesman. You know, and also too, like, okay, independent. When I hear the word independent, that means like you don't need anybody physically, emotionally, spiritually, financially. You don't need anybody. So my recommendation to all the women all like the 5 women who watch our podcast, uh, or listen
Shout
to us
out
on
to y'all.
Spotify. Make sure you don't use the word independent. You're self-sufficient. You can adult really well, and that is important to a suitor. Now, if you tell a man that, I'm telling you, get more dates because
Hey,
you're self-sufficient.
let me. This is a whole different thing, but it's about Sierra that I
Go
actually was
ahead.
talking to my wife the other day about it.
Go ahead.
When I was in middle school, so this is like 2000, when around the time she first came out. I don't know where this came from, but did you ever, where you were in California as a kid, you were in high school at that time, did you ever hear about the rumor of Sierra having a penis?
Yeah, 50 Cent started that. Remember?
Was that? I don't remember who.
He had that like in a diss track. He always said that Sierra's a man, and people ran with that. There was 2 big
Forever.
rumors growing up.
Forever. So I was just thinking about that the other day, and I was like, and I've talked to people like in different cities who grew up, and I know they went to like public school, and I asked them like, "Yo, man, did y'all ever talk about like Sierra having a penis when you were little?" And they're like, "Hell yeah, you remember that?"
Yeah.
And it's just crazy, and I totally blanked on the fact that 50 Cent came up with that.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That was definitely 50, and like he made that like blow up nationwide because even out in San Diego, I heard that, you know, and people ran with that. There was another one. I don't know if you're too young for this one, but when Little Kim was coming up, there was a rumor that like she like was like the ultimate, you know, we're gonna keep it PG, but you know she used to do some things, you know, like choo choo, you know, with a bunch of
Yeah.
people. and like they said that she had did like a gallon, of children.
I remember that. I remember
Yeah.
that.
So
Yeah.
like that one, like people ran with that one too. And if that ran all the way to San Diego, I went from New York to San Diego, man. That stuff flies. So it's like rumors like that are brutal,
And it, and that's with no social media. Like think about that. That
Exactly,
was crazy.
exactly.
That's crazy. But I do remember both of those. But like we were just talking about it the other day because that song. I mean, we were scrolling through like Twitter, and then the Sierra thing came up, and like how she was getting some backlash about like making this independent song
Right.
when she's like you said more just self sufficient, not necessarily independent.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was like, "Hey, you remember this rumor?" And my wife was like, "Yeah." She's like, "I definitely remember that." Like everyone kept saying that. Good times.
Yeah, those are good times, man. And like that's so crazy how like the 2000s, like late 90s, like social media was like the word of mouth. And how everything just like passed or it was like Yo MTV Raps or like it was Rap City the Basement with Big Tigger and like things like that would just get out like it's much crazier now. Now you just go viral now. Now it's like, oh man, it's viral. Oh wait, what time? Nap time sports minute. Bro, NBA All Star Weekend,
Trash.
dude. Not just us saying that because I'm gonna go the same with you about it. How it's trash. Not just us saying it, but the numbers reflect. Did you see the Nielsen numbers on that?
Yeah, I saw it
Down
today.
27% from last season, and then last season was down 22% from the previous before that one.
Yeah.
The NBA has a problem on their hand. I mean, that was a massive problem because the product they put out there, even Mike Malone, the coach.
Yeah, he
like,
said it was the worst basketball game he's ever been a part of.
Oh, it was horrible, and the only reason I had it on is because there was nothing else on a Sunday evening. There was absolutely nothing else on. So my proposal to you is, how do you fix the All Star game? How would Benji, Chicago's finest, fix the All Star game?
Back to East versus West.
Mm-hmm.
Conference winner gets home court advantage in the finals. I mean, I think it was very upsetting to see. I mean, as a kid, I loved the All-Star game.
Mm-hmm.
It's supposed to be the greatest pickup game in the world going on national TV. And it was just like it was just miserable. Like they were probably running up and down the court at like 20%.
Yeah.
Absolutely zero defense.
Yeah.
Boring. It was just so boring. It was.
Right.
I thought the live draft, I thought it was stupid. Like I know they wanted, like it took too long. There were so many stars not playing.
Yeah.
So there was no Giannis because his wrist is messed up. So I understand that. LeBron only played the first half. No Kevin Durant. No Zion Williamson.
No Steph Curry.
No Steph Curry. I'm like, dude, that's like the top 5 people you would want to see.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was just miserable. I mean, there has to be some other type of incentive. I know, like, the MLB tried this back in the day, where they tied the All-Star game, the winner of the All-Star game, to had home field advantage for the World Series.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it was necessary. MLB has the best All-Star game. You can't half-ass baseball.
Right.
There's no way to half-ass baseball.
No.
I mean, you cannot. There's no way to do it.
You can't.
Basketball, I think you might need to do that. Just like how they need to come up with like parameters around awards. Like you need to play like 85-90% of your games in order to be acknowledged for an award.
Right.
But like it's just it was terrible. Like there are kids who want to watch that. You got the people in Salt Lake City who paid money to go to this game, to go see y'all in person. I thought it was trash. I thought the slam dunk contest was trash. Mac McClung was the only one, who did anything exciting. The other dude, and all of the other dudes, it was whack. And then they weren't even like all-stars. Like I want to see the best of the best do it. The skills competition, whack.
Whack. Oh,
they should have just left it how it was. I don't know. I was kind of confused. 3-point competition, whack.
Yeah.
I mean, you got Julius Randle in there. You got a couple.
Yeah,
You
when I
got
saw him as a contestant, I was like, man, y'all running out of options, you know?
yeah,
Like,
like it's just like yo, like no one wants to do it. So it's like y'all don't want to play the All Star game. A lot of you big heads, big timers, don't even play your regular games. So it's like, what is the point? Like it's just it doesn't look good.
no.
It's not good. And I feel like the NBA is gonna take a hit for a few years.
Oh, yeah.
Very similar to like MLB. MLB took a little bit of a dip,
Mm-hmm.
maybe like 10 years ago, where like ratings were lower. I mean, baseballs has a very particular group that follows
Yes.
because it is a slower paced game. But when you're competing with the NFL and you're around the same time, NFL has the best league.
Right.
And
Right.
you got to be able to compete.
Don't talk too much about baseball because I actually have a topic about you. I want to get your thoughts about the new rules about baseball. But I definitely agree with you about how baseball did have that time to where it was like, all right, not only just regional, but it regionally sucked. You know what I mean? Especially for all the markets who had no chance. Once they started throwing in the luxury tax system and just making sure that, hey, like there's no more of the Yankees of the yesteryear where they have like their lines. Well, the Mets. Oh my God, the Mets, we were talking about that. But just, I think basketball now, the regular season's terrible. So it's an avalanche. It starts right there. So like when you start with the regular season, and you have dudes load management, right? I think it's ruined the NBA. If I was in Denver, I know the Nuggets don't do it as much as other teams, but it would be tough to buy a ticket to know like, oh man, is Jamal Murray going to play tonight? You know, is Michael Porter Jr.'s back going to be like sore tonight? Am I going to watch him? Is Jokic going to sit out because like, you know, he's been playing so much and he needs to rest? Those kind of stuff is in your back of your head when you go and spend like $160 for a ticket. You know, and that's just one ticket, you know, especially if you want to get the good seats. I don't like to sit in the nosebleeds anywhere I go. So, you know, that's why I will never drive from Las Vegas to LA to go watch a Clippers game. I'll never watch a Clippers game live. Never. Never. And even when they were in Denver, I'm like, no, because they're arresting everybody. Denver, especially when you're out in Denver, like everybody knows that you're going to altitude, and if you're on like a 4 or 5 game road trip, and this is like your 4th game, you know everybody's sitting out. Like the only time I really saw anybody in Denver was when I saw Giannis. I saw Giannis live like one time. Who else did I see like one time? Man.
We saw the Bulls, remember?
Yeah, we saw the Bulls. We saw the Bulls.
We saw
That was
the
a
Bulls,
great game. That was a great game. That was a fun game. That was a really good game.
We saw the Lonzo Bulls. That was when he was actually.
That was actually when he was playing, and that was when you guys were actually in first place. But the NBA regular season needs to be tinkered. And people are like, oh, well, you know, don't shorten the games. But I think there would be a better product if there were a shorter season. You know, because the games would mean more. So instead of doing 82, what about, you know, 70, 71? Or even less than that, like where everybody just plays each other home and away. So you'll have, what, 60, 29 teams? So you have, like, what, 58 games? So 30 teams, 58 games. So because then it's like, all right, those playoff races, you can't rest anybody. And then you throw in those like the rest of the games to add up to make that work, to 82 season game work or get to 70 games, is you add that middle of the season tournament. So in that middle of the season tournament should count for a playoff spot. So hey, if you win this middle of the season tournament, then you automatically get a home court playoff. You're in the playoffs automatically. So then that gives teams more incentive to actually want to be a part of that. And then now you cannot, there's no load management, there's no off days. And then the NBA should have like dedicated days when they're playing. So if you have that many games, it's like, all right, we're going to play Sundays, Tuesdays, Thursdays. And there's 3 nights a week. So then we'll load all the games up in there. Everybody has a day off. Everybody's a travel day. Everybody can get things going. Or have the last part of this season, like if you're going to keep the 82, do what you did like when they did in the bubble, to where they take all the teams and reshuffle them. So it's like, hey, we're going to take the top 22 teams and just have them, for the last 22 games, have them play each other. So we know each night in the NBA is going to be like a matchup. And then the other 8 teams, that are in the Wembanyama sweepstakes, who are going to be definitely going to be in the lottery. Your Spurs, your Magic, your so and so's, you name it. Those Oklahoma City's fighting for a spot right now. You take those garbage teams, and then they just play each other. Then it's like, hey, like this is what you get. Your cities are gonna watch garbage basketball now because of this. We're not even gonna feature you guys in like any of the game. You're just thrown to the wayside. We're just taking the top 22 for the last playoff sprint. That'll make things interesting for like the last for February, March, and April basketball. Because right now the NBA has a problem. Nobody's watching these games.
No, I like. Shout out to Nick Wright on First Things First, and he blamed it on the media and how we look at players and how we compare players. All they ever talk about are championships.
Yeah.
So if no one's gonna give me credit for having a great regular season or having a decent postseason and only account my success to the number of championships,
right,
I'm gonna rest my body to make sure that I am the best available for the playoffs to make a championship run. And he believes that that's a part of the issue. Just the narrative has changed so much where we only talk about, well, not we, because we're not on the TV talking about sports, but the media only talks about and acknowledges people with championships.
Right. I heard him say that. He was on Colin Cowherd's radio show when he said that. I definitely agree with him, Kev. So I agree with him to this point because you're right. That's all we do look at is championships. For a team, I'm a Clippers supporter, so the furthest we've ever been to was the Western Conference Finals. To me, that was like kind of like my championship because like we've actually made it that far. Same with the Padres. Like the Padres did a really good run last year with the Phillies. I think it just depends on your expectations as a fan and like where you're at. Like so, like, for you as a Bulls fan, like you're used to championships, you had 6 of them in 8 years.
I'm not used to it no more.
6 of them in 8 years. We haven't seen that since, but at the same time, like, or Lakers fans, they've got, and Celtics fans, they have plenty of championships. I think that the media is kind of messed up. I don't think we should be measuring championships shouldn't be the end all be all. So it's like if that's the case, like then LeBron has been to how many finals, and he took those teams like that shouldn't have been. A lot of those teams like his first Cleveland season had no business being in the finals. You know what I mean? But we should give him credit for taking his team that had name people on that team. You're just like, oh my god, that roster was like incredibly terrible, but he still got them to the finals. We should give that credit. The Oklahoma City Thunder, when they were young and they had Durant and they had Westbrook and they had Harden, we should give them credit for going to the finals that year. That was a pretty good Western Conference, and they still made it to the finals that year. I don't think we should be measuring everybody just exactly off championships, but I get why, especially if you're like a Lakers fan, if you're a Celtics fan, like I said. But for the Magic, that season with Shaq, they should definitely be credited for that. We shouldn't measure everything off of championships, and I think it's ruining the regular season because now nobody wants to watch basketball in December. December basketball is not even existing because football's on right now. So like, who wants to watch December, January, October, November basketball? That shit is garbage, So they have to do something to spice up the regular season, and somebody has to come up with creative ideas this next collective bargaining agreement, or they're gonna lose a bunch of money. Just yes or no. I just want a yes or no. Just yes or no about this next question. That's all I want. I don't want analysis. I just want a yes or no, and we'll laugh it off after the end of this. All right? Justin Fields, first round pick, next year's first round pick, a second round pick for Lamar Jackson.
No.
God, I want to dive into it, but are you sure?
I'm positive.
All right. Okay. I'm gonna every like thing before the draft. I'm gonna GM the Bears. I'm gonna be the GM for the Bears, and I'm gonna call the Bears. Right? You're the GM for the Bears, and I'm gonna call you. And I'm gonna be like, hey, I got this guy. I got these guys right here, and it's yes or no questions, and that's it. And then we'll leave it at that. Last thing but not least, baseball's new rules. Are you happy about the pitch clock? Are you happy about the new pizza box first bases they have? Are you excited about the new rules and the new structure of where baseball is going?
I do like the pitch clock. Remember last year we went to that AAA game,
Yeah.
and shit. I think it was like I don't even know how many runs were scored. A lot
Yeah, and
of
it was like what 17 to
something
like
ridiculous.
12 or 14. It was a crazy
And
game.
we were
Crazy
out in
game.
3 hours.
Yeah.
We were still
Yeah.
out in 3 hours. Granted, there's probably like no commercial breaks and all that. We were still out in a fairly good time, so I do like that. I like that there's no more shift.
Mm-hmm.
Like that was annoying. I mean, hits were being erased, so I'm
Right.
glad that they got rid of that. The base thing doesn't bother me. Whatever it is, what it is. I don't see it making a significant difference.
No.
Like you're fast, you're gonna beat it. You're gonna beat it.
Right.
I think the shift is the best thing.
I agree. I agree.
Getting rid of that shift,
The,
it just
the shift killed contact hitting. I think the shift made the game like
Home run or
homer or
bust.
nothing. Yeah,
Yeah.
homer or bust. And I'm so glad you brought up the shift because like I grew up watching Tony Gwynn, the second best contact hitter ever to play the game, and if he were to play modern day baseball, he wouldn't get close to the 391 that he got.
yeah,
That
it'd be
one
like a
season.
250 bat.
Exactly,
Yeah.
because it's like, oh, well, we know what he's gonna do. So like, this shift is garbage, and I'm so glad that they have their spots now. Good for baseball. One more last thing, Eric Bieniemy is now the OC for the Washington Commanders. Is he getting blackballed, or is there something that we don't know about Eric Bieniemy that is keeping him from getting?
There's got to be something we don't know. There's got to be something that we don't. I did listen to what's his name, Shady McCoy, the other day, and he was he went off. He was just like, yo, this
He
dude.
went off.
He literally was saying like he's just there, like he doesn't do anything, and that's why he's
Right.
not getting a job. He doesn't believe it has anything to do with race. He does believe like his biggest success. He was a running back coach, and from his experience, like running back coaches do not become offensive coordinators.
No.
He has no input on the passing game. This is a passing league.
Yes.
So if that's true, maybe because they're like, well, there are other folks who don't play call, but they're like, well, yeah, they specifically work with the quarterback. That's what makes them valuable. So if that's true, then it sucks. So I don't know. Maybe he doesn't have the presence. Not everyone's a head coach though.
Yep.
Just because you're a great offensive coordinator doesn't mean you're going to be a great head coach.
Matt Nagy.
Right, like Matt Nagy, and maybe, and there's a couple other folks like Matt Patricia,
Yes.
or what's his name, the dude that just went back to the Patriots, Bill
Oh,
O'Brien. Bill
yeah.
O'Brien, maybe
Bill
he's
O'Brien.
not, maybe he wasn't cut out to be a head coach, but he's a
Right.
great coordinator.
Right.
Rex Ryan, right? Rex Ryan had more. I would say he has more success as a coordinator than a head coach.
Yeah, he was because the Baltimore Ravens, that defense.
You know what I mean? Like he had it sucks. He must know something too that we don't know for him to even take that offer, just to stop being with Mahomes, to go and kind of do his own thing and start over with the Redskins, the Commanders.
Yeah.
So it is what it is. There has to be something though.
Yeah, and
There has to be something.
It's kind of like how you work for DPS and as soon as you are what the perception is of you, and so if the perception of me is or you is yeah man, this guy works well with kids, he does his thing, then hey, they'll elevate you, promote you. But if your perception is you're going around the league and you're talking like Shady was talking then I was I wonder how many people feel that way or they're not on camera talking about it.
Yeah.
And I wish him the best, especially with minority candidates, because it's very hard in the NFL to actually get to that position of a head coach. And yeah, hopefully he finds success and hopefully he upgrades that offense with Daniel Radcliffe? That's an actor. I don't know who the quarterback.
I don't even know who their quarterback is.
Yeah,
either, man.
so
I just
Shane
know they
Wolford,
got
I don't know who
Terry-
the quarterback
Terry
is.
McLaren or whatever his name, the wide receiver, and they got Ron Rivera,
Right.
Ron. I mean,
Riverboat Ron. He's
that's
gambling
all.
on a running back coach. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens. Good halftime, nap time, dude. I love talking sports, man. I think we should do that more often. Like just like beef it up like that. We had some good topics today. But now it's time for the main event of the evening. And this one ruffled my feathers. And I know you have something to say about this one too. And I got this lengthy topic about this one. I was just going to make it part of the full court press, but I was like, nah, this is our topic of the day. A$AP Rocky and the Rihanna. The
Yeah.
picture that stirred up a lot of controversy on Twitter. I saw it on Twitter. I saw YouTube videos being posted of this one. And a lot of different perspectives were laid out from different people. First of all, what is your thoughts about the picture? I want to start with there, and then we'll go to like the larger aspect of what the picture means in a general sense.
I mean, I thought it was a nice picture.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I see Rihanna in the front. You know, I see ASAP really like embodying. Is that the word? I don't know. Well, basically showing a more softer side of him, right? I mean, this dude. I've been listening to A$AP Rocky since he first came out. I mean, all them trippy days and Purple Acid and all that shit, whatever that shit, all that shit. I've been listening to that since I was younger. So to remember all of that and to see him just kind of chilling with his baby, I didn't see a problem. What people are saying of like demasculating or demasculating the black man, emasculating the black man, and I didn't see none of that shit because Rihanna's a fucking billionaire, bro.
Right.
And they try to compare that cover to all these other covers of like the man and the woman being on the same like plane and them being next to each other and how A$AP is behind her. But I was like, well, for one, none of these people I've ever heard of that are on the other cover. I've never seen any of them, and none of them are billionaires.
Mm-hmm.
She's a billionaire. She is. I would say she's probably more independent than other people who claim to be independent.
Right.
Right.
Self-sufficient.
But she is. I mean, bro, she's a billionaire already.
Mm-hmm.
A$AP Rocky's not a billionaire. He's not even close to being a billionaire.
Right.
Right. But there's. And I think you hear my daughter in the back.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. She's cool.
Yeah, she's like, yeah, tell him. I don't see anything issue. I thought it was dope, man. I thought it was cool. Like, you should have your wife's back. Your wife is like killing the game right now. Just did the Super Bowl. She just had a baby. She's having another baby. She looks phenomenal for just going through all of that. You guys have seems like on the outside looking in, like a great, strong relationship. He's comfortable in his skin. He's always been comfortable in his skin. He's always dressed different. He's always, rocked to his own beat. I think it's just a bunch of goofy ass, traditional thinking people who are not even in a relationship. A bunch of lame ass dudes just trying to be relevant, making a bigger deal than what it is. Like it's a bad thing that this dude's carrying his kid. It's a bad thing that he's supporting his wife who is killing the game right now, and people have been literally waiting for an album for 7 years from this woman, and they're like, the first thing they realized that she was pregnant, like, oh shit, we're not gonna get another album now. Like, you know what I mean? Is when you got the world at your fingertips like that, that's a lot of power to hold. Sometimes you just gotta look back and just take a step back and let your partner be the main character for a moment.
Right.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
No, there's definitely nothing wrong with that.
It's dope, actually. I think it's awesome.
So I'm gonna come at it from a different perspective. Definitely a different perspective, and especially one that comes from like the black community. I'm gonna start off with the holding their hands and her holding his hand and leading him. Okay, if you were at say you're going to the Bulls Raiders game, right? And you're out here in Vegas, right? My home stopping ground. You know how Legion Field is. It gets crazy. Like you're going one of the quarters, and you and your wife are walking. Who's holding whose hand and who's leading who? Through the crowd.
I am.
Okay. me too. If I have my long term, I'm sitting there, I'm ushering her through the crowd and protecting her and defending her through all those drunk people that are in the crowd like that. Now, my second thing is, I have no problems with him holding his son and being the father, because painting a appropriate picture for fathers, and especially in a media cycle, it's important. But this is where I'm coming from. This is the blackness coming out of me right here. Is that we are always told, and this is from the black perspective, that our women are the ones that are masculine, the ones that take control of situations all the time, and the women are leaders, while the black man is the one that has to listen to the black woman and be subservient to the black woman. So from a pro-black perspective, like if Dr. Umar or Tariq Nasheed or these other pro-blacks that were out here on Twitter, what they were saying was, hey, like, from a pro-black perspective, this is definitely emasculating a black man, because he's not portrayed as strong as a leader. He needs a black woman to take him and guide him through this beach with him and guide the family and lead the family and protect the family. Because if you look at that picture of how Rihanna's face is, she looks like courage, like I'm battle hardened, I'm ready, like to face whatever's in front of me out on this beach, whether it be monsters from Independence Day flying around and an alien fight. I'm ready to lead my family through this. While you see ASAP, he's like, all right, well, I'm going to hold his son and then I'll follow your lead. From a black male perspective, that is considered weak. And that's and over the years, black males like me have been fighting that stereotype of we're bad parents. So that helped us out with us being a good parent. But then that also didn't help us out for being strong parents, that being the strong individual that can lead a family. So I see that from a black perspective, and I see where those guys are coming from. And then if you also weigh that against the Jonathan Majors pictures that just came out, I forgot what magazine it was. I don't know if you saw those pictures. Do you see those pictures at all?
Nah.
Okay, so it's swole ass Jonathan Majors, the dude that's going to be in Creed 3. He was part of Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. Swole black dude, but he's out there wearing like a pink garb and like looking very sexualized. So like not more of as a leader, as a king of his tribe, but more of a sexual boy toy that women can come in and just like, hey, like I'm gonna get this boy right now, I'm gonna get this black man, and use this dude. So I just think from like a media perspective, I see where the pro blacks are coming from, and then I see where you and like my long term said the same exact thing that you said, so like there's different agreements. Like I agree with some of the stuff that you said, but at the same time, I feel like that black men are portrayed differently in the media, because normally we're portrayed as convicts, degenerates, bums, and we're always the first to get killed in movies and media. So I think we need to do a better job of just encapsulating us as what ASAP is as a father, but just moving us forward. Even like having like the arm on the side, or some equality there. And I know Riri's Riri, but at the same time, like, we have to make sure that black men get portrayed in a better light.
Let me ask you this: do you think she was the lead on that magazine because probably more women subscribe to Vogue and know who she is? Because A$AP Rocky's a pretty big artist, but I would say he's a bigger artist to folks who really follow hip hop and rap,
right?
More underground rap. He's not really he hasn't made a song on the radio in years.
No.
So do you think it's more because of it's Vogue and they're trying to capitalize on the fact that she was on the Super Bowl and this was a part of the whole overall scheme.
Yeah, for sure. And just because you have Rihanna, and then also too, like you got to look to the people who that buy Vogue. It's not going to be a 40-year-old pro-black, over there going, "Hey, I'm going to purchase this Vogue magazine and read these articles that are in here." You're catering to your audience, but so then look at your audience, what they take from that though. So if you're a young woman, who's a young black woman that's in her 20s, that's the media portrayal that subliminally you're looking at, is that, oh, I can take a young black man and you can have my son or daughter and I'm going to lead him to the promised land. So I get what you're saying, and like I know like what they're trying to sell, and they probably didn't try to do this on purpose. This is probably like an editor was like, "Oh, this photo looks nice. Let's just have this be our number one shot, and it be the cover of our magazine." But every people look at this stuff, and then it becomes like a subliminal image, and then that subliminal image becomes reality. And so the reality of it is now you're going to have a bunch of 25, 26-year-old women who think they could take a man, no matter what job they are. Say if they work, hey, I work as a social worker, and I'm going to take this young dude that's, let's say a mechanic, and we're going to have a family, and I'm going to take this family to the promised land. But you are not going to be the one going downstairs when things pop off in your house. If there's 3 burglars going downstairs, who's going to be? Is it going to be ASAP, or is it going to be the battle-hardened Rihanna? If somebody breaks in the house, that's what I'm trying to get at, is that like they made her to be the all-knowing in that relationship, when I think there's definitely push and pull and equality in that relationship, and they made her to be out the big head, even though she's makes more money than him. Yeah, she does. She definitely does. She's definitely more out in front in the public, because you're right. ASAP is definitely just rap music and music. I mean, and fashion, and he does his fashion thing. But they made, and especially like, look at the attire they have him in, right? Like they have him in the vest, and he feels comfortable in that vest.
But he wears that on his own.
Dude's not swole. Dude is not swole.
But he dresses. He's always dressed different on his own. Even
I know.
Before he was with Rihanna.
I know. But Benji, but think about the imagery though. So like, if they had you and your wife, right, and you guys had a post for like the Denver Post, and they're like, hey, like I need you to put on this apron.
But I don't. But that wouldn't fit what I do on a normal basis.
No, it does not fit with your normal basis, but still, it's the perception that they're putting out there. And I know he wears that on a normal basis, but at the same time, like that is a black man who's like skinnier than skinny, wearing that while getting tugged around the beach. So like it just that's where the emaciation of this black man is happening, and that's why people are up in arms. I just want you to see that from that point of view.
I mean, I hear what you're saying, but to me, it sounds just very traditional way of thinking, which I don't. I mean, we're gonna have to agree to disagree, because I don't see it that deep, right? And again, as a man of color, like I don't see it like that.
Right.
Because if it was, I saw it as a picture, and more of like my interpretation is this is Rihanna's moment, and as your man, I'm going to hold down the crib so you can have your moment to shine.
Right.
This is your moment. So I'm going to hold my kid down and play this and do this while you can be in the forefront, and you do what you got to do. And you go ahead and you get your butter and you bring it back to the crib now.
Right.
That's what I see.
I'm essentially living that picture. That picture is essentially me, because right now, long term, she makes more money than me right now. I'm staying at home
with our son. But granted, I'm like a Jamaican.
I'm glad
I'm
you
like,
said that because I've been thinking that, and I was
Really
like,
good for
yeah, I'm
Josh.
really surprised that you're seeing a bigger issue with it than I am.
But I'm looking at it from I'm not because like for me I'm comfortable in my skin to let this all happen. Like I'm losing out on 401k. I'm losing out. Work experience. It might be harder for me to get back in the workforce. I'm probably gonna end up starting my own business after all this is said and done. I get what you're saying because you're right. I shouldn't have a problem with this because I'm living this life. But I'm looking at it from a larger scope of blackness and where the black male is at in the media today. That's where I'm looking at it now. Like I said, like if he's walking arm to arm with her and they're holding hands and they're both like walking the beach and he's got the kid like that would have been more appropriate from a more pro black perspective. But I even in the relationship, it kind of seems like that with that picture, like Rihanna makes the calls. Like that's not how like me and like my long term relationship works. Like we have to talk about certain things that are happening and moving forward. And I know that probably that hasn't a relationship works either. They probably talk about a lot of things, but
I think people are leading with making too many assumptions,
mm-hmm.
and when you do that, you make an ass out of yourself.
Yeah.
I think people are just going a little too deep.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's just a pig. I honestly, I just think it's Rihanna's moment right now.
Right.
She is the star right now. She was on the Super Bowl. She announced her second pregnancy at the Super Bowl. This magazine is probably a direct benefit from being in the Super Bowl because they have to pay their own way to perform. Right? You don't get paid to do the Super Bowl. You are paid. You pay for everything. You're literally just doing it for the views.
Huh.
Yeah, they don't get paid. They don't get paid for their performance. She has to come out of pocket and pay all of that. The production, everything.
All right.
Everything she has to pay for or her company pays for. She doesn't make any money on that. Your money comes from what you capitalize on the publicity that it brings because you got 100 million people watching now.
Right. I did not know that.
So I think to me it's just more of like, yo, this is your time. I'm cool. I'm gonna hold down the family at the crib. You're in the forefront right now, and I'm cool with it because I'm thinking more modernized and not traditional.
Right.
A traditional man would have made a bigger deal about it and not, oh no, I gotta be the one in the front and I'm the fucking macho man and doesn't need to be that. It's a partnership, and throughout their relationship, sometimes you're gonna be in the front, sometimes you're gonna be in the back, sometimes you're gonna and that's okay. It's a bob and weave back and forth type of game. So I think I can understand all these the Dr. Umars of the world saying like this is demasculating the black man, and I don't see that at all. I think it's actually showing a softer side to the black man that isn't shown often.
Mm-hmm.
The only time you see a black man on TV is when you're accused of a crime.
Right. Exactly.
And then you live up with that stigma of black men don't take care of their children. So in this one picture alone, you have a black man caring for his child. You have a black man not in a mugshot. You see a black man with a black woman, and you're breaking all these stereotypes in this one picture, and folks are getting upset because of who's in front of the other one, and you're missing all these other beautiful parts of that are being shown because we're caught up in this traditional thought of who's the decision maker, and then start leading with assumptions rather than just looking at this photo for the beauty of the relationship.
I agree with your points. I agree with your points because, like I said, dude, I live that picture. That picture is basically my life right now for the past 7-8 months. When it comes to fathers in media, do you think we are portrayed like is this picture, like you said, this picture does help with fathers and especially black fathers, but overall, do you think they are portrayed like this way, or do you think they're portrayed more in a negative light?
No, I think we're just portrayed as buffoons. Like look at all the famous dads, Homer Simpson, the dude from Family. Like every time your dad, like you see a dad in a movie or on, it's always like they're funny, goofy, aloof, buffoons. You know what I mean? They're like kind of like a joke. Where why can't we just be the nurturer? Why can't we be a nurturer? Why can't we? You don't really see that often. And if you do, they're not black or they're not brown. Right. You see like the Spanish movies and shit. What are the dads? Quiet, always at work.
Dude,
Don't
Carlito's Way. Carlito's Way. I was a fan of the dad in Carlito's Way. He tried his best.
But I'm saying, overall, in the overall picture, you don't see that.
Right.
It's always we're a joke. So now you got this guy. You got a man out here who's vulnerable, and now he's getting chewed up by his own people for that.
Right.
But that's what we want.
That's what we want. That's
what we
exactly
want. So
what
like we got what are we talking about here?
Right.
And like I said, people are getting upset because of who's in the foreground and who's in the background, and not taking into account everything else that I explained a couple minutes ago.
Right, because there's a lot of good that comes with that picture. Like I said, and there's a lot of good.
I like how I feel like I'm changing your mind a little bit.
No. Cause I talked to my long term before we got on. I talked to my long term, and like I was like, hey, like I'm gonna take the pro black approach for like this time around. I'm gonna take the pro black approach and see how you see it, because like I found there's a lot of good in that picture too. I even mentioned it. There's a lot of good in that picture because him holding his son and being a great dad, and then him also, like you said, like giving his partner that moment, that light. From a pro-black perspective, though, I just think like a lot of the facial mannerisms and ASAP.
I'm just saying, man. There's a lot worse.
There's a lot worse, and like here's a lot worse right now. I'll name some horrible parents that are in media. You already brought up Homer Simpson, Al Bundy.
Lazy.
Red Foreman from That 70s Show.
Stern.
What's up?
I said Stern.
Oh yeah. Jack Torrance from The Shining, Jack Nicholson's character. The Mr. Wormwood, the guy from Charlie and Chocolate Factory.
Yeah.
No. Mr. Wormwood's not from Charlie and Chocolate Factory. Matilda, excuse me, from Matilda. But the dad from Charlie and Chocolate Factory, with the I want it now kid. He was a really bad dad. Tyrion Lannister, who had his kids incesting.
That's all I see. That's all I'm saying is usually if you're a father in a show or something, you're not like, it's rare that you're that loving. We have some examples of that, right? But overarching, overwhelming, you see like just lazy, goofy dudes. Right, and here's some examples of some good dads. Uncle Phil, R.I.P. Yeah, Carl Winslow. You know what I mean?
Yep, Carl Winslow. Yep. Phil Dunphy from Modern Family. Modern Family wasn't that bad. Jim Hopper from Stranger Things. Mufasa. Ned Stark from Game of Thrones.
What's his smart guy's daddy?
Yeah. The black dude. God, wow, I used to love that show. He's a smart guy.
Yeah.
He actually ended up playing in a bunch of other TV shows too. Oh, Furious Styles from Boys in the Hood.
So, I mean,
yeah, there's King of the Hill, of course, Hank Hill. There's some good dads that are portrayed, but I don't think there's not enough good dads that are portrayed in the media nowadays. I think, like you said, like a lot of the new TV shows that are coming out, dads do look bad. They look terrible they look, like they don't know what they're doing. And like I said, perception is reality. So if we think of just black people as, you know, inmates, criminals, you know, pickup artists, you know, sexual objects, then how do we see our fathers nowadays? And then that's how we get treated, especially when it comes to family court situations. So if a judge is biased and he's like, man, like all I see is dad's da 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 da. You know, even like in your situation, when we call young students to the office, you know, and their dad comes in reeking like bud, or you know, hungover, or not dressed appropriately, then it gives a bad perception for the school staff about how that dad is. And that dad might be a good dad. You know, he just probably had like either a bad day or maybe he is like that. We have to make sure that we present ourselves in a way 24/7 that is positive, so that we can make that perception a reality, that we are, you know, worth a damn, that we are the rock in a lot of relationships, and that we are helpful, we are attentive, we are knowledgeable, we're, you know, protectors. We make sure that we put our families in the best position that we can be. You like that?
Yeah. It's a good.
Yeah, dude. So after that, dude, that was like our second disagreement on the podcast. But it was like a halfway disagreement, because I agree with a lot of your points that were going on.
So, just for folks who are listening, since he agrees with my points and I totally disagree with his points, that means
well, because you're not black.
You're
Puerto Rican.
You're
Puerto Rican.
First of all,
okay,
Puerto Ricans are literally come from Africa.
Okay. You're Latin black. I am sorry. You're not Afro American.
I am
You're not Afro American. You're Afro Latina.
Okay.
My bad. That is my bad. You're Afro Latina. You're not Afro American. So you're not.
And
Black
I will
African-American.
say, my father's side of the family is 50 shades darker than you are, sir.
Man, it doesn't matter. We're light skinned. I got that Cali light skin in me. We're all high yellow. My whole mom's side is high yellow. So yeah, what do you think? You're high yellow. We're that.
You know what I mean?
We're that light
Shout
skin, green
out
eyes.
to the Republic of Congo, the Congo Republic. That's where my ancestry tells me I'm from. You know.
Did you do that? That 23andMe?
I
like
did
that.
Ancestry.com, bro, and I came back.
I gotta do that. I think they say my family originates from Jamaica, and then I think, you know,
it makes sense, man. When I look at my last name and
right,
look at, you know what I mean. It came back 30% from that part of Africa, so
right,
that's fairly significant. And like I said, my grandmother, bro, she's like on my father's side, she's a very dark complected woman.
Right.
We got thick hair. We got the features. We got it. So I always acknowledge my Afro-Caribbean roots.
You're still not getting reparations.
Don't need it. I got opportunity. Shout out to everyone who gave it up. Shout out to the civil rights movement. Without that, wouldn't be where I'm at today.
Damn right. Shout out to everybody, the Malcolm X's, and MLKs, and all the other. Any last words?
Nah, I think today we had a lot of words. I mean, we're pushing up to about an hour and 40 minutes right now. It's been a minute. My baby was kind of making some noises in the back. So we hope y'all enjoyed this episode of Do Not and Father. Take care of yourselves. Take care of your loved ones. And as always, wash that ass, please.
Preferably with a loofah and a wash rag. Make sure you're using some damn good soap. You guys, peace out. Make sure you follow us on Spotify or wherever you get your podcast. Download us. YouTube. Like, comment, subscribe. Say what's up. If you want to be a part of the podcast, email us. halftimenaptimepod.com. Gmail. halftimenaptimepod@gmail.com. There you go.
Edit.
Go ahead.
I said edit.
Edit.
Peace, y'all.
Until then, guys. Peace.